Is Tate Mcrae now a main pop girl? If not, her numbers prove that she at least has a fair opportunity at establishing herself as one, as she is now predicted to hit #1 on the Billboard charts with over 170,000 copies sold first week. I think Tate's social media engagement and centering dance has really helped her gain traction, as well as other factors like PR relationships. My thoughts on Tate's albums have been lukewarm, but for this video I want to focus on things I like about Tate and what I feel she could actually improve upon on a more detailed scale. First, I want to say I think many things have aided to the rise of Tate Mcrae. One, of course, being her social media engagement. Her dancing really excites people. Another major thing is she is filling a void. There's no Britney Spears, Ariana Grande is focused on acting, Selena Gomez has mostly returned to sad girl pop, and just to be clear, that's not saying there can only be one, but when everyone else that operates in Tate's lane is busy, it allows more eyes on her without any competition. An even bigger advantage is a large majority of her peers are confessional singer-songwriters, and she's the only dance pop R&B girl that also dances. It gives her an edge, it makes her stand out. And before some people start in the comments, because I know how the internet is, yes, I'm aware we have people like Tinashe who have kept the spirit of dance in the pop industry alive, even when it fell out of favor, but I'm specifically talking about people who broke out in recent history. Tate does stand out alongside people like Olivia Rodrigo, Billie Eilish, Chaperone, and Sabrina Carpenter, and perhaps she's even more easily digestible than most of them. Another thing is Tate's consistency. She has a high turnover rate and has not stopped releasing. Unfortunately, that has shown in all of her projects thus far. Having a high turnover rate for albums isn't bad when the album is good. And while Tate is progressing, her strengths still lie with her singles almost exclusively. Tate's voice has also been the talk of the town, and having a distinct voice can be a great advantage, particularly when it comes to pop music. Tate needs to practice on enunciation though. Sometimes it sounds like she's just singing with her mouth half full. On the other hand, there are parts in many songs where she is enunciating clearly, so it's not out of her reach, it just needs to be done more consistently. I think she could also use her voice in more interesting ways. Sports Car was an introduction to that, but she could really be taking advantage of vocal layering to add more dynamics to her voice and music. I think sometimes her songs are performed very cut and dry, which is fine for some songs, but she could add some spice here and there. Another thing is substance. For all the naysayers, yes, fun pop music can still have some form of substance, even if it's not soul-bearing. 3 albums in and there still seems to be a lack of self-assuredness in Tate's work. Sports Car was a huge step in the right direction, and I think her most interesting song thus far. But her concepts just seem to be there to give an illusion at times, instead of genuine execution. Like, what does so close to what even mean? It's not an overarching theme for the album, it's not aligned, it's just there. A collection of randomized songs is completely fine, but it just seems to be at odds with what Tate is alluding to. Also, some of her inspiration is a little too close to comfort to the source material. But the worst thing is, you can tell that it's an imitation because the music she's referencing has so much more detail and interesting quirks in its production, which hers lacks. She could also strengthen a bit on the songwriting front, where it isn't so passively vague. Which leads me to my next point. One major change I think needs to happen is Ryan Tedder as her flagship producer. This is not shade to Ryan Tedder because Ryan Tedder is iconic, but I just don't think his strong suit is dance pop. You look at some of the best songs he's produced: Bleeding Love by Leona Lewis, Halo by Beyonce, I Know Places by Taylor, Rumor Has It by Adele, and you see that dance pop is not Ryan's bread and butter. This is not to say that Ryan Tedder is incapable of making a good dance pop song. After all, he did Sports Car, but his imitations pale in comparison to the source material. I do not understand for the life of me why instead of having Ryan Tedder produce Timbaland knockoffs, why she doesn't just go to Timbaland or the producers of that era. It's funny when you consider though that Ryan Tedder was actually signed to Timbaland, so that must be a huge source of inspiration for him in his work with Tate. But with all due respect to Ryan, it is not his strong suit, it is not his playing field. I firmly believe that Tate needs to turn to the dance pop gods that are capable of giving her a more eclectic and interesting sound. Go to Timbaland, Bloodshine and Abbott, hook up with Kathy Dennis, Danja, Stargate, Circuit, even someone like Victoria Monet. She needs hooks for days and undeniable production. Those are just some names I feel can help Tate hone in on the style that she's going for far more successfully and in a much more interesting way. And even if she doesn't completely get rid of Ryan Tedder, Expansion into other producers to produce her sound would be great. Because for the people who really love this type of music, we all know who the people behind the sounds were and how excellent they were at it. I think her music currently plays second to her dancing. When both align, she will hit her sweet spot. And I do see potential in Tate. She has all the ingredients for a good pop star. She just needs to fine tune her ingredients to make a great product.